in our urge, in our build, in our design, we all strive for the better life, for ourselves, for our children, for our family, and so on and so forth. You agree with me? Amen. Yes. I'll give you one little secret. I wasn't Christian all my life. I was born in Moscow, Russia. And not being Christian, but opposite, being raised in society that completely opposite to not just Christianity, but any acknowledge of God, period. My father was a communist, and all his family, I think I shared this with you. My uncle, my father's brother, he was a retired colonel. He was a philosopher in Military Academy of Lenin in Moscow. He has a lot of actually written books on the philosophy and so on and so on. Basically, this entity, Military Academy of Lenin, full name Military Political Academy of Lenin. It's basically ideological core of all what we will call communist core and ideology in the modern time. Are you with me, yes or no? So, can you imagine I was exposed to that kind of thoughts, talks, and so on and so. And of course, this was inherent in me in school, in college. I was able to actually hold the debates and prove the truth of evolution, for example. I know very well, we had very good examples, and it's still there in we call it Petersburg. Back then it was Leningrad, one of the biggest, largest city in Russia. And there was a museum where tools and instruments of the Catholic Inquisition were displayed, and like tools of torture. And basically, all religion was presented to us as a brainwash of masses, brainwash of the people, and tool to keep the power, keep the people in fear. And in a sense, they were right, and that's the difference, because we as a Seventh-day Adventists, we believe in 1,260 days, right? In a time that we call dark ages and so on, but it's another topic. I'm not going to go there, but you understand what I'm saying. So that's the kind of background I was raised in, and going through being in a school, and well, that's another story. Like any boy in Russia, I want to play hockey. And I lived in Moscow. We had ice on the pound by our house, and everyone wanted to be a hockey player. All boys and girls wanted to be figure skaters. It happened that my sister, my older sister Tatiana, she was a figure skater. I had some tryouts, but I never had a chance to learn to skate very well. So she was taking me to the ice rink with her so I can learn how to skate. Believe it or not, I kind of liked it. So I became a professional figure skater. When I was a kid, I had a free schedule in school. I would say probably since 14 years old, this was my full-time job. I have to go to school, take a test, so I can keep up with the curriculum of the school. So I was allowed to go on the training camps and competitions, so on and so on. So I was very fortunate, so I got in kind of that elite training programs that was sponsored by the government, because Soviet government tried to present society as the best of the best. That's why if you look in Russian art, classical traditions, ballet, sports, they always try to be the first, you understand? Because they wanted to present as the system is the most progressive and better one, okay? So you have a big separation from that elite level that was presented as the whole country, which wasn't true. It was just very little minority of the people that government just sponsored and pushed it forward and so on. So I can tell that since 14 years old, it was my full-time job. My career in sport was end up when I was 20 years old, because 18 years old you have to go to the army. And I was in the army in a time that Soviet army was in Afghanistan, so I was drafted from college, because this was drafted from the college. I was fortunate, I was continued to skate, but it was difficult being in an army and continue to skate, because each time you have to get special authorization, so they allow you to go on the training camps and stuff like this. So why I'm telling you this, in this time, one time when I came to the unit, and I supposed to get that special paper that allowed me to go back and train and skate, paperwork wasn't there. So I stayed some time in the unit, and you know, you're losing your shape, you don't skate. I mean, this skill is perishable. So anyway, and that time, I remembered that my grandma held a little icon behind the curtain on the window, so my parents couldn't see it. And me, a little boy, and stick, everybody saw it. And I saw my grandma praying to it. And of course, I asked some questions, but did not pay much attention to it. Just like any little kid, very noisy, and wanted to know what's going on. Oh, okay, so, you know. But in that time, somehow it came to my mind. And this is, I would say, a very funny thing. I remember that in this time because I really want to continue to skate. So I went down on my knees. And I say, God, if you exist, you will help me out. And you know what? Paperwork went through, and I went back, skate, and continued. This was my first, I would say, turnaround when I understood there's something else. It's got to be something that makes things right. It's got to be something that makes sense. There's got to be something that just gives that hope and confidence and peace in our life, because nothing else is giving us confidence, peace. And I think I had the sermon a while ago on a peace and confidence. Yeah, I know who you remember. If you don't remember, I'm a very bad preacher. So, yeah, because there is a sermons and there's sermonettes, and I know that some sermons always stick to your head and you remember them, and those ones that you don't remember. So anyway, and I was giving my testimony a while ago many times, and each time when you come up and you preach and you give your testimony, it's always different. And I'll tell you why. Because experiences you go through, and especially in your Christian life, in a life as a believer, you know, looking back, how God was there and He worked on this situation. He worked on your success, and He was there without even you knowing it. But of course, in our nature, when things go bad, we go on our knees. When things go good, we forget about God. And that's exactly what's happened with me. So after service, and then another time when I came back to the service, paperwork did not go through. So all rest of my service, I was in a unit, full scale. And when I came back, I was 20 years old. I was demobilized from the army in 1985. And so I couldn't continue to sport, so I turned myself professional. I work in back then it was called Moscow State Ballet on Ice. I worked there for 5 years. I started low because I'm an athlete with no big name. I never made to the World Olympics. I did represent former Soviet Union at the small international competitions, but not more than that. So I start from the bottom, build my way to the principal skater. And in one point in my life, when we were here in the United States, and it was a second tour, I decided to stay there. But before we came to United States, in 1990, it was summer to fall 1990, it was 4.5 months tour, where we were touring in the spring of 1990 in Israel. And it was actually very cool visit. We were on the Dead Sea. It's very awesome. You can lay, read the paper, and you don't sink because water is so salty, so thick. You can, like, I saw people just laying on the back smoking a cigar and stuff like this, just enjoying it. Because that's kind of type of water it is. Anyway, and of course we had a tour in Jerusalem, and we spent the whole day there. A lot of information, but we were at supposedly the burial of Jesus. And you know, when you walk on the streets of Jerusalem, another thing hit me. Our guide, he was a Jew, and no one had any doubts about historical Jesus. It was me, as you know, because everything that later on I was reading in the New Testament, in the Gospels, all guide was telling exactly the same thing that took place. It was very, very interesting back then. Now I say it was very powerful. Only one difference, they did not believe that he was the Son of God. So this was, I can say, like second time when something just kind of flip in your mind. And what I'm trying to tell you, little things like this, and I'm not asking you to buy the icon and start hiding behind the curtain. Are you with me, yes or no? This is breaking the God's commandment. Are you with me, yes or no? Right? Okay? Thou shalt not make any carved image and don't bow down and don't worship it. But my point is, my grandmother's only what she knew. And that's how being raised in a Russian Orthodox society, because he was born before the 1917 revolution, before when the communists came into the power, Bolsheviks came into power. So she was carrying all her life because she did not want to lose that peace. She did not want to lose that hope. And that's what she knew, and that's how she related to God. And in her mind, she was persecuted even by her own family because it wasn't allowed. That's why she was hiding it. And she was hiding from me because she was afraid if I will say something to my parents, they will get in fight again, because they may again fight over it, believe it or not. And what I'm trying to say, you never know how you're going to witness to somebody else. And what maybe one little thing that you did today, maybe 20, 30 years will play a major role in somebody else's life. Are you with me, yes or no? Because it did to me. Sometimes we think that we have to give the Bible study, run evangelistic meetings, baptize a bunch of people, start a new church. A lot of time it doesn't work this way. So, even little thing that you do as a believer maybe someone saw it by corner of the eye, it will play a major role in their decision. Because things on a scale, and one little thing can tip one way or another. Oh, it was me, yes or no. So anyway, been touring here in the United States, and then I defected in 1990, and I start my life here because I want to live American dream. I saw the differences between what was going on in Russia and here, not just with better life, just whole society, like, and people more friendly, more open, more smiles on the face. And this is, by the way, smile is a very attractive thing. Okay? I always like to joke. People who heard me before, I always joke about, we're not 7 days Adventists. We're Adventists. We believe that Jesus is coming soon. We have to come to the church with smile and joy, and not just church, joy in our life. In a moment, I will come to this, and you'll understand why I'm saying this thing. Again, because this is part of us to show who we are and why this life is making us so happy. Are you with me, yes or no? Because if it doesn't, you come to the church for wrong reason. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that. So anyway, when I went to the college, it doesn't matter what I went to Institute of Physical Culture, Physical Education. I was trained to become a gym coach or figure skating coach or gym teacher. And I can do also physical therapy. It depends what branch I'm going to take. So that's kind of my background. And where did I'm sorry. So anyway, or in a college, no matter what trade you get in, you have to study political economy and science of communism. You have to. Do you understand? Okay, because all that what we call ideology and propaganda is supposed to inherit in our brain, and it was there. So you have to. So I was taken. And one of it's very ironic, very ironic. One of the characteristics of developed communism, it's taking away differences between manual and automotive labor, okay, and difference between country and a city. I'll give you in a second. In my time in Russia, if you go in a country, a lot of cars that you owe will not go through. You need a tractor. You understand it, right? Like, so it was big difference. So when I came here and I see, wow, is that the city? No, we live in a country. I have my own house, I have a deck, even pool, asphalt road, nice driveway. So anyway, and I'm like, it's very ironic because capitalism came society much closer to the communists, to develop communism than socialism. I don't want to go there. If you want to talk about this, I'll talk. But again, I don't want to go political. I'm not. But I'm just trying to show you. I came here. I wanted better life. I saw the better life, and I want a piece of it. So I defected. I ran away, asked for political asylum. It was already, by that time after tourists, was end of the 1980, right before the Christmas time. I remember this, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And don't want to go too far and too long. My reason why I came to Detroit, because my best friend Igor already was here. And he also skater. Well, he's my best friend. Now he's Olympic coach. And he actually, back then, he bought me bus ticket from New Jersey to Detroit because I knew no one here except him And I ran completely out of the money by the time I went through interview with immigration and blah, blah. No money, no nothing, no job. They just gave me a small employee authorization card. Okay, just go and whatever happened. So anyway, I was very excited, very happy. I'm here in this country. Legally, I can, build American dream. American dream did not come very easy. I'll tell you that. Because a lot of mistakes were made, a lot of things were done wrong. And what life taught me, majority of my mistakes were made because of my pride. Because I did not want to learn from my own mistakes. Always, I do everything right. It's the circumstances that did not allow me to, are you with me, yes or no? I did not know back then. But you go over and over and over and over. In one point, you hit the bottom. So it's not just I would say, a lot of things went wrong. I ended up being by myself with my 9-year-old son at that time. I was married very early in Russia. Then I had a Dmitry, brought him and my ex-wife here. Did not work out. Being divorced and raising Dmitry by myself on the top of everything because stress, bad lifestyle, a lot of work, and then my health went down to hell. And it's very interesting, like, again, you don't look what's happened to you before when God actually did something good for you until bad things happen again. My health down to the tube. I went to the doctor, a lot of medication, nothing works, insomnia and panic attack, anxiety attacks, and all big list of stupid things like that related to stress and bad diet and so on and so on. So anyway, and in this time, all this time, I had a very good friends back in camp who happened to be Seventh-day Adventist. They were telling me about Jesus. They were very good to me. And it was like, you know what I mean? Goes in one ear, flies out of another, because I was doing good. Until things got sour. And Ken, he's a very brilliant dentist. He's not alive anymore. Becky is still alive. I just spoke with her a couple of weeks, and just yesterday I saw their son Ryan, who became a doctor. I talked to him yesterday. He came to my shop. It was a very good visit. I work on his car, and big shot doctor now. Becky, his mom, she's a nurse practitioner. She's retired now. They live in Tennessee. I want to apologize for this. So anyway, I came to them, I say, guys, nothing worked, what's going on? And you know why I reach out to them? Try to pay attention. He's a dentist. She's a nurse practitioner. They had 2 kids back then, Ryan and Bonnie. They live in a small, rented 1,200 square feet house. And they drove car with 150,000 miles on it. And they were always happy. I was me, yes or no? And I was asking them, guys, you can afford to drive better cars. You can afford to live in a better house. And they were trying to tell money is not everything because you can do different things with your money. I was getting back then. But kids got very good education, and they were very good kids. They always coming. Whole family was very happy, always happy. Okay, so when things got bad, I started reaching out, mostly because I knew Becky. She's a nurse, and back then they were telling me something about different lifestyle and diet and stuff like this. So okay, what can I do? Do you know somebody else who can help me, because I ran out of options? So Becky and Ken came to my house. By the way, they lived back then in Midland, and I lived in Troy, Michigan. So we're talking about over 100 miles trip one way. They came over, same day. Becky brought a syringe, withdrew my blood, right on the spot. That's right. Took it to her friends to the lab. They did everything okay. And so, we will talk to you in a week. So anyway, somebody came to the week and say, well, Vladimir, nothing really wrong with you. Okay? I think it's just because you putting on yourself so much stress, your body just says, no, I cannot do it anymore. And it's physical stress, mental stress, and so on and so. And life is stressful. We cannot take it away from you, but you can make yourself resistant to that stress. Take a wild guess what we start. It was an ironical question. I want you to answer it. Something that you start. You remember the program? New Start. Do you know what it stands for? New. W, water. E, exercise. You know what I'm talking? N, nutrition. W, water. E, exercise. S. T. R. Keep going. Trust in divine power of God. We start new start. When you run out of option, you grab to anything that you can, right? That's something that gives you some kind of self. They gave me the Bible, and believe it or not, when I came to this country, to me, parlez-vous français and sprechen Sie Deutsch was same as English. I don't speak in English. You understand? So I got to learn. And they gave me King James Bible because this is the best translation you can possibly get. Okay? And can you imagine how was my disappointed when I opened a dictionary to see what this word means? I could not find it because there's no TH at the end and so on and so. Okay? And how you can find that IDs, and you got it, right? So anyway, then I say, no, I cannot read it. They find the Russian Bible for me. So I read the Russian Bible, couldn't make a sense, start asking the questions, follow that New Start program. I quit drinking coffee. I went 100% vegan. Make sure I'm in the bed 10:30 latest. Okay, I couldn't go any early, but at least because before then I was getting to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock. So anyway, so it was big for me. Stop drinking any alcohol because it's all Russians. And I'll tell you, when we used to drink, we drink to the point you can say mama. So it's just how old society was. And I tell you this, I don't want to emphasize sin, but I'll tell you, when you have no hope, when you want to just cloud your brain, you drink or do something else. Are you with me, yes or no? Okay? So I did not go to drugs, thanks God. It didn't come to the point, but alcohol was my medicine then, and not just mine. So I went cold turkey on it. Besides, I'll tell you this. If you want to change something in your life, don't believe in the baby steps. Doesn't work. It's painful. Can you imagine if doctor, let's say you need to cut the something out, like cancer or something. He says, okay, I'll cut like a piece of it and then come back in a month, I'll cut another piece of it. Are you with me, yes or no? Maybe I over-exaggerate, but that's how it feels. It's going to be hard, but you know, just, yeah, cold turkey is the best way to do it. At least it did work for me. Each time when I try something, oh, it's a good baby step. One step, baby step forward, one baby step backwards is very easy. So anyway, this is my perspective on these things. So I went cold turkey, and you know what? I'll tell you this. In 6 weeks, all symptoms that I had were gone. No medicines, no prescriptions, nothing. 6 weeks. Guys, as a Seventh-day Adventist, when we talk about lifestyle and diet, when we talk about health message, we have very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. Sometimes we don't realize what we have. And of course, I'm not going to talk, sometimes we go so radical and health reform becomes the health deform. That's another story. But if we're doing balance and right, it's a very powerful tool. Keep it in the back of your mind because somebody else needs it. And be ready for that too, because there's someone, Vladimir, like me, maybe his name is John or Joe, and he needs to do the new start. Are you with me, yes or no? Okay? So anyway, I start a new start, start studying the Bible. Find a Russian church in the area. Of course, Russian Orthodox Church. I thought if I go to Russian church, I can understand. I come to the Russian Orthodox Church, I couldn't understand nothing. Because, you know, this kind of service with this thing that makes the smoke, and, you know, and he'll like, what is he saying? Oh, yeah, it's a blessing, you know, it's a blessing. Yeah, put a candle right here. I'm like, oh, okay. So, couldn't understand. Who did I reach out again? Guys, can you understand what's going on? If this is religion, I don't know how to relate to it. Okay? So anyway. And we start Bible studies. I think I shared this with you too. They drove over 100 miles one way from Midland to Detroit to give me 1 hour of Bible study. Nurse practitioner and dentist. Not preacher, not Bible worker. Are you with me, yes or no? Yeah. If you think that, and you know what? It was very simple. They're not scholars. They just brought amazing facts, study guide, and we'll follow through it. Daniel too just blew my mind. Because I'm a person, because I'm more like, some people like based more on a feeling, I'm more on a logic, okay? So give me something that I can understand, something I can touch, something I can feel physically, not emotionally. Are you with me, yes or no? So Daniel, and we knew the history. Then Daniel 7, well, I'll tell you another funny story about this. About that, not funny, but interesting story. So anyway, I start coming for, because they live far away, they want to find a doctor who can monitor my health while I start my new start. And they find a Dr. Payton. And Dr. Payton was going to Troy Seventh-day Adventist Church. So I went, he did the physical, so everything good. He invited me for the service. I did not want to stay for service because I was afraid this is going to be this again. You know, I can't understand anything. But what attracted me, it was Sabbath school, because people actually studying the Bible. Amen. Guys, there's another thing. You can't believe it how powerful Sabbath school is. Because there's a lot of people who don't want to come for service, but they're interested in what Bible say. Invite people for the Sabbath school, not for the service. By the way, you come for the Sabbath school anyway, you don't need to step another time during the week in your crazy schedule. See, win-win situation, invite them. Let in a Sabbath school, and we went through this when in the Sterling Heights, we had more people at the Sabbath school than at the service. You go in majority Seventh-day Adventist churches right now, it's more people at the service than at the Sabbath school. It's got to be all the way around. So I was coming for the Sabbath school. I did not stay for the service. And I told you I'm going to bring this. See, again, Sabbath school, we just studied the stewardship. Only one place in the Bible when God says, test me, says the Lord. Again, it's not rhetorical. I like to keep open conversations so people with me not just listen Vladimir speaking, okay? Where in the Bible it says, test me, says the Lord. Come on, Bible scholars. You know. Only one place in the Bible when God says, test me. In all others, he says, don't test me, don't tempt me. But this place in the Bible, he says, test me, says the Lord. Malachi. And what he was, how we can test the Lord? Tithes and offerings. And I will open the windows of heaven, and there will be not enough room to receive it. And that time, because I told you, it wasn't just a physical issue, everything like relationship, finances, maldown. At that time, I was in a tens of thousands of dollars in debt. So, because I did not stay for the service, and not each time I could make for the Sabbath school because I still work on Saturdays. So I drove on Friday to the Dr. Payton's office, was leaving my tithes, and he was thrown in a plate in a church during the service. God paid off all my debt in 8 months. That year, I made more money than I ever made. Because to me, it's not about being a Christian, Buddhism, or Hindu. I did not believe in the existence of supernatural power at all. I was a complete atheist. I believe in evolution. I believe that I came out of organic soup, that first in some crystals like several million years ago. You understand where I'm going with this, okay? That was me. So for me, and again, God, if you exist, and I'm going to put you in test. I put him in test. You know what? I'll tell you, just last week, not last week, yesterday, I did not know if I'll have enough money to do the payroll for my employees. Because I got so busy. It's blessing, but it's also a curse. You have so many, because you're not getting paid unless you deliver the job in my business. So you have so much in the process, have no money. And I had no idea how I'm going to deliver those cars because it's so busy. And I delivered 3 cars yesterday, big jobs, got paid. And I have not just enough to pay the payroll, but even take care of some bills and get myself ahead and build a certain cushion. And I tell you, this year was very difficult for me because about a year ago I had a surgery. I tore Achilles tendon. I was 3 months on the crutches, and I couldn't be in a shop because I had to go to the doctors, to the therapy. I couldn't function. Besides, I couldn't do the work too because I'm one of the small business owner. Even I have employees, I still spend a lot of time on the floor. Right before that, I'm losing my right hand technician, so it was very difficult. All my cushion in the business was gone, so I was running on the last penny. But you know what? I always paid my tithes. And I'm not trying to be very cocky. My officer manager yesterday, she was freaking out. Everything happened between 3 and 5 p.m. Sometimes that's how God works. He wants to make sure that you know He did it. Because when things are impossible, he makes things possible. And if he does this way, and he delayed with the blessings for your own benefit, because he wants to tell you, you still have to trust me. Are you with me, yes or no? I don't want you to feel that, well, I already went through and I got this, I'm so faithful, and blah, blah, blah. You know, don't think this way. I can ask you, just pray for me, okay? And Vladimir is very far from perfect, and I always tell myself, like, I'll do what I can right now and leave everything to God. You know? That's why I always praying before I preach. God, take away my sins, put it on the backside somewhere so He can use me. Because there's a lot of things to learn. There's a lot of things need to be adjust, correct, and so on and so. Because I'm a human being like anybody else. And I have struggles. And you know what, I'll tell you this. When you're getting closer to God, Satan works harder. Be ready for it. If someone tells you Christian life, you got to become Christian, everything, boom, on a silver plate, There will be silver plates, and God will give you lots of them. But before that, your faith will be tested, and over and over and over and over. And we have very good examples in the Bible. Who can give me one is very, very obvious one? Job, that's right. Second one. I'll help you out in the New Testament. Peter, that's right. How about Paul? Guys, most powerful verse that saved me so many times, 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly I will rather boast in my infirmities, that power of Christ may rest upon me. Because we have God's grace, we have hope. And nothing can change that. You know, I encounter a lot with Orthodox Jews, because in the Detroit area there's a very strong Jewish community, and a lot of them who came from former Soviet Union. I'm going to say this, my second wife, she's a Jew. She has a lot of friends. She's not Orthodox Jew, no, but by nationality, she's a Jew from former Soviet Union. She's Russian speaking. So she has a lot of friends who happen to be Orthodox Jews. So we invite on a Shabbat a lot of time, Sabbath. They like on a Friday night. Very good people, very nice people, and we can speak Russian, so very good people. But why I'm saying this, last time we were at Friday night dinner, one of the, wife of the guy who house we invite you, she said, it's so nice that we have regulations on everything. So we know how to please God. If it's not for those regulations, how would we live? Are you with me, yes or no? These people have no... Because they are very conservative, you can open a faucet, but they have a little thing with water, and they have kitchen, 4 or 5 sinks. And you take that little jar, put right here, so you have to do 3 times. And he stands behind me, and he says the blessing in Hebrew, which also I cannot understand. He can understand because he studied, but anyway. You have to do a certain way because you got to wash your hands. Lights are on timer, so they not physically flip up or switches, things like this. I can go on for. It was me, yes or no? Why I'm saying this? Because if there's no grace, you have to replace with something. Because everyone wants to have some kind of hope and peace. Because everyone knows we are not designed, we are not created to live life that we live here right now. Well, I came here in this country to build American dream. But I understood that even the best, and I don't want to, see, I have very good life, don't get me wrong. You know, there's another thing. I can tell you, oh, I completely forgot about this. Oh, I got to say this. Dave knows this very well. When all my friends left, when church almost got close, we start losing the members, and we invest so much in this church. And all my, because me becoming a Christian, a lot of friends just, I don't want to say they stopped being my friends, but they distant. But because I had a new community, I have people who I can talk about things that I cannot talk to my old friends anymore. On the top of everything, person that I thought I'm going to get married, I found out that she started dating somebody else. And I was asked to step down for being an elder, head elder of the church. I'm not going to go into detail. It was difficult, okay? And I remember I went down on my knees to say, God, just give me something that I can take my mind away because I don't want to be like this anymore. Tell me that you're there. You won't believe what God did. I'm a former skater, right? I did not skate for decades. I coached part-time and I work on the cars. So I come on ice rink to do the lessons, and I said, okay, I just want to loosen up. So I just skate around, which I do once in a while, like, but just skate. I think lesson was canceled, so I decided I just stroke around, just sit. And very good friends of mine, also Russian coaches who coach at the same ice rink as I did. They're full-time coaches. And Sergey and Olga, they came to me and said, you know, we have an adult skater, Judy. She just lost a pair partner, and I'm a pair skater, by the way. Do you want to try it? I said, guys, how is it going to be? I didn't skate for a decade, and I'm 45 years old back then. Okay, I thought, no, like, it's not real. Okay, just try it. So we tried. So now, 16 years later, we still skate. We won 3 U.S. nationals in adult skater. We won Master Games in Innsbruck, Austria, in Canesi, Italy, France championship and stuff like this. And when I tore my Achilles tendon, I was told 9 to 12 months recovery and maybe never go back on the ice. I went back on ice in 6 months. God can do incredible things if you can trust Him. And sometimes I would never could imagine. By the way, I'm 61 years old. And if you're interested, like I can show you, I have last week practice, I can show you what we do on the practice. And my partner, she's 59. So anyway, yeah, God can do incredible things. You won't even imagine, you won't even think about in your dreams. Because I did not ask for it, but He knew that I love skating. He knew that I need something. And you know, at the same time when this happened, I got a phone call from the home church, very conservative Seventh-day Adventists. They call themselves Free Seventh-day Adventists. And they had a home church in somebody else's basement. And they say, Vladimir, can you come because we need someone to preach on a Sabbath. And I was preaching for a year there, every Sabbath. I started skating. I thought I'll just try it and skate. 16 years later, I still skate. And God will take you through any difficulties in your life. By the way, we had a mission spot today. That fellow using the sign language. Did you see his smile and joy there? Because God gave him hope of different life. And it's not just different life, it's eternal as well. With no pain, no sorrow. I don't know how much time, because I brought something to share with you, but I think I'm going to skip. Can I give you homework? When you get home, go to early writings and read the chapter, First Vision. Would you do this for me? It'll take you maybe 15 minutes. I brought it. I'm not going to read because I talk too much. But I think I just want to share this with you. I believe in the power of personal testimony. But this quote I'm going to share with you. It's in the Gospel Worker, page 103. We shall be witness unto me, ye shall be witness unto me, Acts 1:8. Those words of Jesus have lost none of their force. Our Savior calls for faithful witnesses in those days of religious formalism. But how few, even among of the professional ambassadors of Christ, are ready to give the faithful personal testimony for their master. Many can tell that the great and good men of generations past have done and dared and suffered and enjoyed. They become eloquent in setting forth the power of the gospel, which has enabled others to rejoice in trying conflicts and to stand firm against fierce temptations. But while so earnest in bringing forward other Christians as witnesses for Jesus, they seem to have no fresh, timely experience of their own to relate. Ministers of Christ, what have you say for yourself? What soul conflicts have you entered? What have been in your good? For the good of soul, for the glory of God. You who profess to be proclaiming the last solemn message to the world, that your experience and knowledge of the truth and its effect upon your own hearts, does your character testify for Christ? Can you speak of refining, ennobling, sanctifying influence of the truth as it is in Jesus? What have you seen and what have you known of the power of Christ? This is kind of witness for which Lord calls and for which the churches are suffering. Guys, not everyone Vladimir, not everyone David Oshrik, not everyone Mark Finley. I'm sorry, I want to apologize, I put myself on the same line. No, okay? No, I'm sorry. But you know where I'm going with this. Everyone has the personal testimony what God did to you, or to your family, or to somebody else you know. My grandma, her witnessing was to me, just so I will have some hint on the back of mind, that little icon behind the curtain on a window. Everyone has something like this, and everyone has something like this to share. Everyone would. And I'll tell you this. No matter how hard, difficult your life seems like, it's an opportunity for you to witness for power of Christ. Are you with me, yes or no? Because someone will come to you. Your house is falling apart and you're so happy. What are you happy about? Well, because Jesus will build a new house for me on the streets of transparent gold. Are you with me, yes or no? And I think it's more powerful than any evangelistic meetings, any hired Bible workers. And I don't want to minimize it. You're with me, yes or no? But everyone individually can do this, and everyone has a testimony to share. And this testimony could be very, very powerful for any person. And this person saw in the street, in a coffee shop, at work. Are you with me, yes or no? And I think if church will pay attention more on this than just how paid off the loan of the new roof, a new driveway, I think things will be really different. By the way, you know what? It was so ironic because at the board meetings, we're always trying to figure out how we're going to pay off this loan, how we're going to fix it. Very simple. Get more people in the church so they can pay their tithes and offerings. All problems will be solved. Amen? Amen. Everything comes just for evangelism. And evangelism could be done different ways. And if you think that it's not you, you're wrong. Ellen White writes, it's a fatal mistake to think that all witnessing opportunity count on a paid ministers. I paraphrase a little bit, but that's the meaning of it. Fatal mistake. Guys, I'm where I'm at right now because I did what I do. You know, not because I tried to study, but because I saw the people and being involved in churches and a new church and so on, so. And you know what? God made so many miracles in you, and you actually, you never lose sentence that, sense that He is here with you, He's right behind you. And this is the best and most powerful feeling that you can have. In a bulletin, we put Amazing Grace as an opening song. I wanted this song as the closing. Do you mind if we'll fire up and we'll sing Amazing Grace again? James, is that possible to do? Can we sing Amazing Grace? You okay with that? Can we sing Amazing Grace again? As a closing? Probably my fault. I probably rushed to send the text.